thing called life. Always happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday. We thank you for hanging out with us in your morning. Typically here 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate your patience this morning as PJ and I are getting ready to bring you a full slate of conversation here on the show, and always happy to do that. The PJ Takeover with Papa Joe happens every Thursday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can see inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, we got a full slate of conversation to have today inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', bringing you the list of topics for the day. So we have Major League Baseball. We're going to go over the wild card and how PJ and I ended the wild card 0% correct in our predictions. We picked the Mets. That didn't happen. We picked the Rays. That didn't happen. We picked the Jays. That didn't happen. We picked the Cardinals. That didn't happen. So we'll discuss all of that coming up here, coming out of the wild card. And of course, we'll talk about the beginning of the series for the ALDS and the NLDS. Then we'll go to our college football picks from week 6 and take a review. We have our tallies for the season, so you can see where PJ and I are at as far as our records have gone up to this point. And of course, we'll be giving you our updated records as well. PJ right now, and so we have a nice back and forth. I think he's 2 games ahead of me in college, and then in pro we're pretty close here. So we got some good stuff going on here with Papa Joe. We'll get into our college week 6 review, and our week 7 picks will be coming up. We'll also get into our NFL week 5 pick review and our NFL week 6 picks. And, of course, we'll talk about those Jaguars. So, a bunch of great stuff coming on here at Cafe Kubal. And today is the special unveiling. Today, on Thursday, October 13th, it is the official unveiling of the new menu at Cafe Kubal. So, make sure you pay close attention to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT, as I will be unveiling the new menu at Cafe Kubal, which I'm very, very excited to be doing, and look forward to bringing you all of that coming up here. Cafe Kubal, located for you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York. You'll also find them on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners, inside of their drive-through location in North Syracuse. And of course, you'll find them at 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their giant behemoth of a brown stripe building. So a lot of great stuff coming up with Cafe Kubal, and looking forward to bringing that to you today. So very much looking forward to that news that's going to be coming out here as the new menu is unveiled at Cafe Kubal. And with that being said, plenty of great conversation coming up with Papa Joe. I'm calling this the weekly dose of your duo. That's what I'm calling it. So it's the PJ Takeover. It's Papa Joe and DT, PJ DT, all the good stuff. And now the new tagline is the weekly dose of your duo. So with that being said, I proudly bring in the man of the hours today, and that's Mr. Papa Joe. PJ, how we doing today?
Oh, good morning. We miss you already. You just left.
Yeah, no, I miss you both dearly. I miss Joey. I miss Marissa, and I are friends, which is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you made a friend while you were here.
Yeah, so Marissa and I are hanging out, but yeah, no, I realize that whenever I always look forward to coming down, and then when I leave, I have days like yesterday where I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm done for the day. What am I gonna do? I went and did this event and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, I'll go watch the game with Joey and Mary and PJ. And then I'm like, no, I can't. So, there's that feeling of just kind of wanting to go home and sit with the family. So I miss you all very dearly as well. And I look forward to seeing you soon with my extended birthday, hopefully.
That's right.
So PJ's here with us this morning. He's going to be with us all throughout our Thursday broadcast, as he always is. You're on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com /LiveNowDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. Those are the many ways for you to reach us, not just in Central and Upstate New York or the great state of Florida, but everywhere on this planet. And if there's any aliens listening, I come in peace. And I hope that you will appreciate the show this morning. I can do the Star Trek where you separate the fingers. So big time A lot of fun up here on the show today. So we got a lot of stuff to get into. I'm going to unleash PJ, as I've already told you all, wherever you are in this world. And thank you to Ross, who said, have a great show, Dan the man. Appreciate you, brother. And I know he's a big-time Yankee fan and a big baseball fan, so I know he loves these conversations. So with that being said, PJ, we are 0% correct coming out of the wild card. Every team we picked lost. Greg had a Major League Baseball logo that changed the baseball player to the Grim Reaper, and he said, please go easy on the rest of the teams in the playoffs right now. So I guess we've been the Grim Reaper of all these 4 teams. So let's start at the wild card and how the Cardinals, the Rays, the Jays, and the Mets all went home.
Oh, my goodness. Well, there was a Billy Martin, who used to be a player for the Yankees and, of course, was a manager for many years for the Yankees. He was asked a question once about the playoffs. He says, this is playoff time, you can throw the records out the window. And that's essentially correct because they're starting from ground zero. And, anytime you got to win 2 out of 3, you got a couple of good hot pitchers, you're ready to roll. And that's certainly what these teams did. And I was appalled at that none of the favorites won these series. But again, and as the Boomer said, that's why they play the game. That's why you got to do it. You got to do it on the field. Anyway, I start with Cleveland and Tampa Bay. Bieber outpitched McClanahan. They win 2-1. Siri and Ramirez homered, so that took care of that. Bieber pitched a little over 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, struck out 8. McClanahan 7 innings. 7 hits, 2 earned runs, and 5 Ks. So if you're looking for a good pitcher's duel, that's one you didn't want to miss, and it was a good one. The next one on the docket here is Philadelphia at St. Louis. Philly wins that game 6-3. Segura was a 2-run homer. Wheeler pitched 6.1 innings, give up 2 runs or 2 hits and 4 Ks. Wheeler used to pitch for the Mets. You know that, don't you? Yes, you do. So I bet they could use him. Next we got Seattle and Toronto. Now this one was a real embarrassment, I thought. The Toronto comes in with the big bats. They got the kids, the kid of the major leaguers playing for them. And anyway, Seattle beat Toronto 4-0. Raleigh hit a 2-run home run, sets the pace for the whole deal. Luis Castillo, who was really overlooked this year for a Cy Young Award winner probably, but he pitched over 7 innings, he's up 6 hits and 5 Ks. He frankly was unhittable, and he's kind of a hooky-jerky guy that he's got several different pitches. You never know what angle he's going to come from. But Seattle had to beat Manoah, who's Toronto's best pitcher, an all-star pitcher, so they took care of the deal 4-0. Let's see, next, I'm trying to scribble my notes here. San Diego versus the Mets. Oh, boy. San Diego wins that one 7-1. I'm looking at this game, and I'm thinking, I'm watching Scherzer all the time. I'm watching him in the dugout. Cameras are always on him all the time. I'm watching him warm up in the outfield and do it before the game. And Scherzer had his game face on, too. Joe recognized that, too. He sent me a text. He says, Scherzer's got his game face on. He always does when it's a big game. But I'll tell you, it sure the hell didn't work because he gave up 4 home runs. And Scherzer's the kind of pitcher, and our baseball people understand this. Scherzer's always around the plate. He doesn't walk too many people. He's got a lot of pitches, of course, but he throws strikes. If you can guess him right, you're going to hit him. And especially with Scherzer and some of these older guys, if you don't get them early and they keep rolling, you're not going to get them late. So they got Scherzer early here. Darvish pitched against him 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, struck out 4. The Mets had nothing for this guy. And Darvish, he used to pitch for the Cubs. I think the Cubs had something like $50 million just to negotiate with him when he came from Japan. I mean, the guy's a beast. He's 6'5", big guy. And he's got several different arm angles. He's got 7 pitches that he throws for strikes. And he had a hell of a year. So, and they beat, no excuse for the Mets. You got to be able to produce in this time of the year. You got to do it. Okay, we got Green Bay. Let's see, Tampa Bay. walk-off home run in the 13th inning. Both teams struggled on the Cleveland, Tampa Bay. Here's something that you don't see very often. This stat is amazing. Each team struck out 19 times. 19 times out of 45 outs or 42 outs, how many innings there were. You don't see that too often. And great pitching, You win this time of year with pitching and defense. You've heard me say that 100 times.
Yeah.
So that's the way it is. We got Toronto and Seattle again. Seattle had an 8-1 lead. And Seattle comes back to win a game 10-9. Unbelievable. Get to the 8th inning, Toronto's cruising. They got good relievers. They can't close the deal. Little singles here, doubles here, walk here, hit batsmen here. Before you know it, these things start piling up. And they wind up winning the game. And, Toronto was shocked. And, see you later, buddy. You're done. You're out of the tournament. Philly at St. Louis is the next one. Philly wins the game 2-0. Nola pitched to Jim. Harper hit a home run. Big three got nothing. Carpenter, Molina, Pujols. Unfortunately, they had to sit on a bench and watch their team lose, and it's going to put them out of the series too. Philly's no one to be messing with when I get to them with the Braves. You got San Diego with the Mets. The Mets win this game 7-3. DeGrom pitched well. He didn't pitch really great. Linder Alfonso went yard, so it sort of set the pace. And DeGrom gave up a couple runs, but nothing serious. The Mets were in control of this game. Good to see that because they really needed it. Next game on the docket was San Diego versus the Mets again. Now this one, Bill Musgrove from Seattle was almost unhittable. He pitched 7 innings, gave up 1 run, struck out 6. There was something in this game that a lot of the baseball people would pick up on. And again, my kid is pretty sharp. He called me on the phone. He said, "Dad, you see what happened?" I said, I did. And I'll tell you what happened. Buck Showalter with the Mets was kind of play a little mind game here with San Diego and the umpires.
Yeah.
He called timeout and he called the umpires over. He said, "Listen," he says, "Musgrove, there's something going on with Musgrove. His breaking ball is breaking way too good, and his changeups are down and away. And I think maybe have something on the ball. Maybe check around his hands and check his ears." So a little gamesmanship there by Buck Showalter. So the umpire goes out there, and here on television, the umpire, he looks at Musgrove. Musgrove's a big guy. So he bends, the umpire says, "Bend down." And the umpire's got his hands up around his ears, feeling the stuff on his ears. And I'm going crazy. The big guy. What the hell's going on? So he bends. I realized what Showalter was doing. He was just playing with him. Musgrove didn't have anything on his ears. Maybe he did, but it wasn't illegal or anything. So, I was rolling with that. Anyway, they couldn't hit him, and you couldn't hit him, and then it went easy. So something to laugh at. And Buck Showalter, when he interviewed that, he was talking it with a straight face too. If I was him, I would be laughing my ass off. But it was funny, and it didn't work. But he tried to fire up his team by something like that, and it didn't work. Okay, then we got Philly, Atlanta.
Well, hold on that for a second. We'll hold on the ALDS and the NLDS for a second. So, of those series, and PJ just bringing us through all the games of the series in order, and knowing that it was a best-of-3 series for the wild card, which is great to see, as opposed to one game where one team just kind of catches fire one time. It was, in my opinion, good to see something like this where we got to actually watch a potential 3-game series, but 2 or 3 out of the 4 series were only 2 games. That's all they needed. The Phillies handled, and I almost picked the Phillies, and I sit back here, and first thing I thought when I saw it, I was like, darn it, I knew I should have picked them. But looking at the Phillies and, the Cardinals, winning that one in 2 games, and then, seeing what happened in these other series, just how quick they were. That, I mean, it kind of almost felt like it was a 1 game wild card still, because of how these teams were playing each other for the most part. The Mets Padres went 3 because the Mets were able to get enough out of DeGrom and do enough on the field offensively to force a game 3. But to see these series here, now that we have these 3 game series, only go 2 games with 75% of the series out there, 3 out of 4 of the series ending that way, was, a very quick move here to the grand scheme of things, as we go back and like Papa Joe was saying, take a look at how everything kind of shook out, and it was quick. And we saw how these teams were handled pretty easily. The Phillies doing that to the Cardinals, like I said, the Guardians doing that to the Rays, and the Mariners doing that to the Jays. Of all of the series, PJ, that we saw, which one surprised you the most? Was it the Mariners, the Guardians, the Mets?
That's a good question. I admire all the teams, but I think Toronto's got to take the big egg here. They were a sensational hitting team with the young kids. They got the young players. They had good starting pitching. I'm surprised Toronto didn't put up more of a fight. But again, like I said, in this time of the year, you throw the records out the window because they don't count anymore. I don't care if Toronto had beat someone in a series 12 games to 0. It doesn't matter. You've got to play the game on the field, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and I think I'm happy for the Mariners. It's the first time that, to me, I think for Seattle and the way that they've been, over a decade now, to see what they were able to do, I'm really happy for them, and I'm happy that they move forward. I'm surprised in the Guardians. I'm not surprised in the Phillies. And the Padres, listen, they spend a lot of money, and they, definitely have gone out there and and done what they needed to do on paper. But it was, okay, are those bats going to come to life in the postseason? And they did. And it was funny because I had somebody ask me, Chris Heidel, another fellow broadcaster, he sent me a message on the show I did on Monday. And he said, Dan, what happened to my Mets? And I said, the Padres happened to your Mets. And that was the only way to say it. I was like, listen, those Padres caught fire. They did everything that they needed to do, and they were relentless. I mean, they literally forced the Mets starting pitcher right off the mound. And I kept looking at you going, when are they going to get rid of him? Because we all watched this game together, and I was like, when are they going to make a move? When are they going to make a change? How many runs do they want to give up? So I would say the Padres were somewhat of a surprise to me. I would say that the Mariners and the Guardians, really, were surprises. I'm not surprised in the Phillies. I thought the Phillies had a lot of good stuff to go off of here, and I thought the Phillies were going to do some good things. So I'm not surprised in the Phillies winning the game and winning the series, or I should say winning the 2 games and winning the series. But my surprise does come with some of these other teams here, and then moving on. And listen, like you said, any given day, anybody can win. You throw it out, whatever you got in the regular season, you throw it out in the postseason, and that's exactly what these teams did. They played their game. And to their credit, they've definitely shaken up the ALDS and the NLDS. And so with that being said, PJ, we're a couple games in. So what are your thoughts on the ALDS and the NLDS so far?
Okay, well, I gotta keep going with what I got.
Yeah.
But these teams don't have any secrets from each other. I mean, with all the technocracy we have in this game now, and all the data that these teams can generate, there's no situation with a team that they're playing that surprises them. All these teams have played each other sometimes during the year. So, you got to remember all this stuff. But if you're playing better than you were when you played these teams in June, then, you're gonna be that much better. So it's interesting, and especially the gamesmanship that Buck Showalter did. I thought that was a hoot. Anyway, let me start with keep going with Philadelphia, Atlanta. Philly wins his first game for Atlanta, 7-6. 12 hits, led by Casanos, had 3 RBIs. The Atlanta made this interesting. Philly survived a 3-run homer by Olsen in the 9th inning to win this game 7-6. And what I thought, most starters were off, really off in this game. And you like nothing better than to see a big homelander like Olsen come up with maybe a chance of putting something on the board. Damn if he didn't. And it made the last out extremely difficult to come through for Philly. But they persevered there, and they're moving on. Next game, Astros at Seattle. Astros win this game 8-7. This was a game for the ages. If you didn't see this game, you should see it somehow. Verlander was starting for Astros, Gilbert for Seattle. Both of them got hit pretty hard, especially Verlander. Verlander got nailed. I mean, it was 4-0 in the first inning. A couple of guys went yard on him, and it wasn't the Verlander that I know is going to get the Cy Young Award for the American League. But anyway, they're playing a game, ebb and flow, back and forth. Seattle takes the lead. No reason that Seattle can't hold the lead. Bottom of the 9th inning. It's a tight game. Alvarez comes up. The bottom of the 9th inning now. It's a 3-run homer in walk-off fashion. The Astros win 8-7. Unbelievable. So they got Verlander off the hook. Big comeback, huge comeback by the Astros, and that's why they're one of the ones to favor for the World Series. So, if they play the Yankees, it's going to be a hell of a series.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a great game to watch, and excellent played, and some big-time home runs. This is a well-played game. I got New York and Cleveland. Their first time together here. Yankees win a game 4-1. This was no surprise. Garrett Cole went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, struck out 8. Rizzo hit a 2-run homer. Cleveland was flat. There was nothing to this game. It was a rollover. Cole dominated them, Cleveland, and Cleveland didn't have the spunk that they had before. All right, now we get into some stuff. We got L.A. against the Padres. L.A. wins the first game 5-3. Urias, who's one of L.A.'s best pitchers, was in control, gave up 5 runs, or 5 innings, 3 hits, 4 runs, 6 Ks. Trey Turner hit a 2-run homer in the first inning. That sort of set the pace for L.A., and they cruised from there. And Padres had no answers for the rest of the pitching for the Dodgers. Got Atlanta versus Philadelphia. Atlanta wins this game 3-0 yesterday. Kyle Wright, Wheeler, were in a hell of a pitcher's duel right up until the 5th or 6th inning. Great, well-pitched game. And Atlanta started chipping away. I think the 6th inning, they got 3 runs. And Kyle Wright led Atlanta with a 21-5 record this year. And I didn't know much about Kyle Wright, so I had to look him up when he started really pitching well. I don't know where he came from, but he had a hell of a year. He's probably going to make him a lot of money, too. Yeah. And, he shut him down. I mean, he shut him down for 6 innings. That's all he needed, because Philly didn't hit the Atlanta relievers, and, Atlanta was out. The last game was last night. If you stay up and watch it, it was a good game. I couldn't. I watched the first 5 innings. L.A. and Padres. Padres win a game 5-3. They overcome 3 home runs of L.A. Machado leads the Padres, and Dervish out-pitched Kershaw. Kershaw, I think, gave up 2 home runs in the first inning. I think he took them out of the game after the 3rd inning or something like that. He didn't have this stuff. And frankly, he's a shell of a player that he once was as a pitcher. He doesn't have the same bite on his curveball. He's got that big 12-6 curveball, which really drops substantial. And he just doesn't have a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. You're not going to get any with that kind of pitching. Dervish Dervish is the 2nd big game he's pitched in a row, and he outpitched Dervish, or Kershaw, and the Padres come away. And look, the Padres spent a lot of money, like you said.
Yeah.
First of all, they got Anthony Rendon Anthony Rendon got hurt, so he's out for the year. Not Rendon. No, I can't say. But anyway, Tatis is out for the year. That's who it was. And San Diego has got a really, 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 really good team. They hit well. They pitch well. And I know they didn't have the best record, going into this thing. And, LA was something like, over 20 games won more than San Diego. Maybe some people didn't think they could squeak in, but they deserved it. And now they're playing, and the rest of the team's out. So LA and the Padres is going to be another series to watch. All of these series are going to be are good to watch. The only thing that I question whether if Cleveland has the couillons to stay with New York or not. New York has good pitching, not great pitching outside of Cole.
Yeah.
And of course they have the big boppers you can score 10 runs in a heartbeat. So it'll be fun to watch, and stay tuned for the rest of the games. You got a couple today and a couple tomorrow and so on.
Yeah.
So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and Papa Joe here in the PJ Takeover, your weekly dose of your duo, PJ and myself, DT, hanging out here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You can get your weekly dose of your coffee, your teas, and chais at Cafe Kubal by going to any one of their locations. And you can also order online at cafekubal.com. And make sure you go to 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse for their drive-through location. And support local today. PJ bringing us through these series, bringing us through the wild card and through the ALDS and the NLDS. We know that those higher seeded teams, right, get to sit at home here in the beginning, and so the Braves have split with the Phillies when they've started in Atlanta. The number 2 seeded Braves, the number 6 seeded Phillies, the Yankees and the Guardians have started things off here. Yankees leading 1-0. Yankees got another one at home here to start it off, the 2 up against the 3. So a big time game coming up tonight, October 13th, here for Thursday at 7:37 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS. Then the Yankees would head onto the road to Cleveland for Game 3 at least, if not a Game 4, and then Game 5 would be back in New York. And then on the other side, staying with the ALDS, the Houston Astros are hosting the Seattle Mariners, of course, and the Houston Astros up against the Seattle Mariners. Houston, the 1 seed, Seattle, the 5, and taking a look at this one, very close game like PJ was talking about with the Astros. God bless me. The Astros bailing out their pitcher there and helping out the team here, getting 8 runs to come back and win the game 8-7 over Seattle. So the offense came back to take care of the lack of defense and win that game in a very close contested matchup. Hopefully that's a sign of what's to come with Seattle, and hopefully Seattle keep making this interesting. Their next game is today at Thursday, October 13th on TBS, part of that doubleheader, and that's going to be Mariners at Astros at 3:37 p.m. Eastern Time for Game 2, and then they'll head to Seattle for 1, if not 2 games, as Houston leads 1-0. The Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies, like I told you, both games started off in Atlanta, and Philly got a steal here, taking Game 1 7-6, and then losing Game 2 3-0. But now they're back in Philadelphia with a series tied. It's not a do or die. It is an even series, and it is wipe the slate clean once again, as it's a chance to see who's going to win these next couple games. We know that Game 3 and 4 will at least be played, and both of those games will be in Philadelphia, so Philly has a shot to take down the higher-seeded Braves. Their games will be Friday and Saturday. Friday, October 14th, a week before my birthday, at 4:37 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday at 2:07 p.m. Eastern Time. The Dodgers and the Padres, those Padres bats, baby, they get rocking and rolling. This game was this series has been interesting because, ironically, the game ended in the same score both games, however, a different winner, 5-3 and 5-3. The Dodgers winning Game 1, the Padres winning Game 2, and now San Diego gets to host the Dodgers as these two teams that know all about each other in the NL West get to face off again. Seeing how the Padres played Game 2, it's hard to believe they ended the season 22 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West, but they got a shot now in San Diego with this series tied 1-1 like the Phillies do to take over here and make things interesting. They have the night game on Friday and Saturday at 8:37 p.m. on Friday, October 14th, and on Saturday at 9:37 p.m. Eastern Time off in San Diego. And a Game 5, if need be, will be back in L.A. Good thing about this is, San Diego's only traveling in a different part of the state. They're not leaving that. Some of these teams got to go, cross country here, there, and everywhere. The Dodgers and the Padres are not too far away from each other, and they've known each other very well. These neighbors, they're not friendly neighbors. They're the neighbor that, builds the fence on your property and then moves it over an inch and then takes another piece of your land, and then you take your chainsaw in the middle of the night and you cut down their fence, and then they build it again and they build it more sturdier the next time. So we'll see how this one looks between these two feuding neighbors as things get rocking and rolling. The ALDS tonight, the NLDS tomorrow night, and plenty of baseball for you to watch. And Fox Sports 1 is going to carry the NLDS, with the ALDS going to be on TBS. So make sure that you got your dial set and you're watching these games. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break as PJ and I have plenty more to talk about. Our college football picks for week 6 and 7, NFL weeks 5 and 6, and of course the Jaguars putting up an ugly offensive performance in this last game. We'll talk about all of it right after this fast break, where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us right here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life, and always happy to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York, on your way to the Dome. And I asked you for 40,000 people to show up to one of these games inside of the Dome for football this season. And allegedly, 45,000 of you are going to be showing up this weekend. So I hope that number is correct. I want to fill it out, okay? The Dome has almost 50,000. So I don't know what you're doing on Saturday, October 15th at 3:30. But if you'd like to go on a date with me, I'd love to take you to this place called the Dome. And I'd love to sit and watch a football game with you. So, you know, I'm willing to take 50,000 people on a date, but I'm not paying for your food or your drinks. So come out and let's have a good time at the Dome. Thank you all for the support. 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York for Cafe Kubal, and their drive-thru on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. So with that being said, it's the PJ Takeover, the weekly dose of the duo. PJ and myself, DT, inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. And we're talking baseball and then getting into our college and NFL picks and ending with the Jaguars. PJ's got another word here on baseball as you are tuning in on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all /Wake Up Call DT. as well as on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. PJ, what's your word?
There's a couple games here that just I need to expound on a little bit more. And they both came with different results, but it could have been the other way around. And Philly and Atlanta, when Philly won 7-6, they survived a 3-run homer by Matt Olson in the bottom of the ninth inning. That could have, that game could have gone, Atlanta's way easily. But, Philly hung in there in the other game, which is the Astros in Seattle, where the Astros won 8-7. And Rodriguez Alvarez hit a 3-run homer in the bottom of the ninth inning to win that game. Now, when you're looking at Seattle, they're a good team. They're not a very good team, but they're a good team, and they deserve to be thought of in this series. Their pitching is adequate. Their heating is all right. And they hit Verlander well. I mean, you don't see Justin Verlander get pounded around too much longer. I mean, the guy was 17-2 with an ERA of 1.6 or some ridiculous numbers for a guy like that. But Seattle hit him. But I don't know how Seattle is going to bounce back from that. I mean, it's okay to lead, and you want to close the game out. I look at Scott Service, the manager of Seattle. He's got a stoic look on his face all the time. He blinks his eyes or nods here and there, And when Alvarez hit that home run, it panned right over to Service. And it almost looked like he lost his wife. His wife died or something like that. I mean, he was in absolute shock that happened to his team. But when you're dealing with these kind of short series like this, something like this, it's either going to spur Seattle on, or it's going to demoralize them even more. So if you can't beat the Astros like this, then they got a real problem. We'll see how they bounce back. Just some comments and sidelines to have people, look around and look at the surroundings and look at the players and look at the coaches, and you can tell just by the look on their faces what's happening.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, these series are going to set up to be great. And, I mean, at this point now, I feel like maybe some Mets fans shift over to the Yankees and just support New York State. We'll see. And, the Guardians, a team that, some people say with the young talent is going to be great for years to come. The Seattle Mariners, right? I remember growing up with Ken Griffey Jr. and seeing that. And then A-Rod was there for a bit. Not a big fan of A-Rod, but, obviously he did some things when he was there. Houston's still doing their thing. The Phillies are arriving at the best time. The Braves are trying to defend their championship. The Dodgers are the team that I think a lot of people thought won last year, and they didn't. And the Padres are this team that's just thirsty, right? Hungry, ready to go. They got a lot of talent. They got a lot of bats. And, anything about watching that Mets game that was so frustrating if you wanted the Mets to win is that it was just bat after bat after bat after bat after bat for the Padres. And this team has a ton of offense. I know we talk about how defense wins championships, and it does. But these bats are definitely keeping San Diego alive and rocking and rolling. So, I'm really excited to sit down with these series tonight and tomorrow night and so on, and have some fun with these and really get a feel for where these teams are at, and still, you woke up this morning on Thursday, October 13th, and Aaron Judge has not been paid. So, Bobby Bonilla's been paid, but Aaron Judge hasn't. Figure that one out for me, folks. I'm sure it'll be fun for you to do that. With that being said, we're going to jump into our college picks, and we're going to do a review here. So, Greg, I know you know the stat line, so I don't know if we have the most updated stat line here. I'm sure Greg has it, but to see where we're at in the grand scheme of things, I know that last week I think PJ was one better than me last week, and I think it was something like you were 6-2 and I was 5-3. I think it was something like that. in our picks from last week are 6-1, and I was 5-2. So let me see here. No. I think I know it. So you were 6-2 in the college picks, and this is what happens when you're going to Florida and your brain is elsewhere. So PJ is 20-8. I was going to New York City as well. PJ is 20-8 overall in his college picks, and I am 18-10. Yeah, because I'm 2 games back. That is correct. So I'm 18-10 in this, and so taking a look at this, 20-8 overall for PJ, 18-10 for me. It's up on the board right now. Our Week 6 predictions. This is who we had. So PJ's picks and my picks. There's a lot that are similar here. Let's go down the line and see who was right in this. So we both picked TC motherfreaking U, and TCU was able to best Kansas, as my guy Sonny Dykes, who I covered at SMU, is continuing to win in Texas for another team now in TCU. So PJ and I both got that one correct. To most of the country, we call it Arkansas. From people down there, they might call it Arkansas. So looking at them, Mississippi State got Arkansas in this one 40-17. Blew them out. So we lost that game. Then we look at the Georgia game. Georgia's back ranked number 1 in the country right now, folks, for those of you playing the home game. They blew out Auburn 42-10, made Auburn look like a chump. So we got that game correct. Utah, we both picked the Utah Utes, and they lost to UCLA 42-32. So little gross there. UCLA, it's funny. Chip Kelly's no longer at UCLA, and now they're winning immediately. Interesting. So Virginia Tech, God bless to him wherever he is too, by the way. Virginia Tech going up against Pittsburgh. I picked Pitt. PJ picked Virginia Tech, so I got that one correct. Then we both went with Oklahoma State, OK State, in their game, and Oklahoma State was going up in this matchup against Texas Tech. They were able to get Texas Tech 41-31, so we got that one correct. And then we both went with UNC, North Carolina, to take over Miami. Miami's had a not great season, and North Carolina won 27-24. They won that game on the road in Coral Gables. So not a good look for the Miami Hurricanes. And then I think you can say the Hurricanes have been downgraded to a tropical storm. So that's what I would say. NC State, a little weather humor. So NC State, the next one we had up here, we both picked NC State to get a victory in their matchup up against, I think it was Florida State here, as I'm going through our massive schedule of games to get through. Yeah, so Florida State, NC State won that game 19-17. It was an ugly one, but they came out of it alive. So NC State got the victory. I believe their only loss this year is to Clemson. So they won that game at home against Florida State. Florida State, a better team. PJ and I warned you that it was coming. So Tennessee beat LSU. They blew them out 40-13. So I got that one correct. And then the BYU Notre Dame game. Notre Dame got BYU in this one, so PJ got that. So overall here, taking a look at it, PJ's got 6 victories this week, and 4 losses of the 10 games we did. And I have 7. I believe I'm 7-3. Yes, so I got this week 6-4 to 7-3, which means that if we add this all up together, for those of you playing the home game, and I have a 7-3 record, so that brings my total to 25-13. Not bad, not bad. And PJ has a 6-4 record this week, which will bring PJ to 26 wins and 12. So we are only one game of separation between each other now. PJ's overall record in college football picks for this 22-23 season is 26-12. I am 25-13. PJ, your thoughts of all the games? What surprised you the most here? There was a lot of blowouts in the SEC.
Well, I guess I better start with Florida. I was didn't like the way Florida played. They should have handled Missouri. Florida's not. I'm gonna say this again. I've said it for 3 years now. Florida's not a very good team right now. They got an excellent quarterback, but he doesn't show up half the time. He's like Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he'll throw for 300 yards, then he'll throw for 100. He'll run for 150 yards, then he'll run for 10.
Yeah.
I know it's the offensive game plan that put in for these guys, but I just don't like the way they're playing, and I don't like them against LSU this week either. I'm sure we'll come up with that, but I don't have any answers for them. I mean, they certainly have the athletes. There's no question about that. Billy Napier's doing a hell of a job coaching. He's got to do more coaching. He has to do better coaching, and he's not. He's got to. So I'm hoping that they can come through with that. The other game that I watched a little bit of was the Florida State, NC State. Florida State had this game in a bag. They were playing better. Their defense was good. Now they're a good team right now. They're not a bad team. They're not a real good team, but they're a very good team right now, and they should have won that game. And I think that Clemson this week got to be real careful for sure about what's going to happen, because if they better start watching tape on Florida State, because Florida State can play now. And the other game is to Alabama and Texas A&M. Without having Bryce Young there, they did a decent job. What's this kid's name? Milroe was the second quarterback to come in. He threw all right. He ran really well. I guess that's what Nick Saban wanted him to do. But Alabama's not going to go very far without Bryce Young. And I know he's got a little sprained shoulder. It happens to be in his right arm where he throws. So I don't know what's going to happen this week. But I think he's got to hit the field pretty soon, or Alabama's going to lose their momentum. Now, this Milroe kid, don't know anything about him. I looked him up. He's a 4-star athlete that came in, run, pass, quarterback. He's a big kid. He surely ran well, that's for sure. I'm not sure about his arms, but Alabama needs a very strong Bryce Young in order to win out, and that's the way I see it as of now of the last week's games.
Yeah, and it's listen. The SEC definitely is a very difficult conference, and they're beating up on each other. But these blowouts this week were pretty substantial. Like I said, Georgia 42-10 over Auburn. Seeing that game, and just how they handled Auburn, because Auburn can play spoiler to some of the teams that are out there. So that was surprising. And another surprising piece of this, we look at the SEC, Tennessee blowing out LSU. Both being ranked in the top 25, 40-13. Looking at some of the one of the other games here was the Mississippi State one against Arkansas. Arkansas has been ranked in the top 25. They weren't this past week, and Mississippi State was 23, beating them 40-17. And then we saw a shakeup here, and Jimbo, who defeated Alabama last year, lost to Alabama in this one on the road at Alabama. Number 1 Alabama, Texas A&M not ranked, lost to them 24-20. But despite the loss, Jimbo Fisher did have an effect on Alabama. That barely a win has been counting against these SEC teams, the ones that win big, the ones that barely win, the ones that win by a little bit over an unranked team, the ones that win over a ranked team, has been changing where Georgia and Alabama are. Alabama drops 2 spots, barely beating an unranked Texas A&M. Georgia blew out an unranked Auburn, and they went back to number 1. So, and Ohio State is number 2 for no reason. If you can tell me, well, write it in. But this is who Ohio State's played, shall we? Notre Dame was ranked at the time, preseason, for no reason. 21-10. Blew out unranked Arkansas State. Blew out unranked Toledo, 77-21. Blew out unranked Wisconsin. Blew out unranked Rutgers. Blew out unranked Michigan State. Played 5 of those 6 games on the road, and their first road game of the season just happened. They just had their first road game of the season, 6 weeks into the season? So Ohio State's played most of their games at home. Nobody outside of Notre Dame, which was a preseason ranking, has been ranked. Yet Ohio State is considered to be the second best team in the country. I'll wait for you to throw up, clean it, and let's get back to football. Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, they do work. Michigan, they dropped a spot. I don't know. Maybe somebody that was supposed to vote for the Big Ten went for a bathroom break at the time, because they're down a spot in the overall polls right now. But Ohio State, if anybody can tell me, I always like to ask the question, but they're ranked number 2 in the country. Penn State is ranked in the top 10, also for no reason. And the Big Ten has 3 teams inside of the top 10. If you'd like to know what Michigan has done to get to 6-0, let me tell you. They blew out unranked Colorado State, unranked Hawaii, unranked independent garbage team UConn, unranked Maryland, they barely beat, unranked Iowa on the road. They played their first 4 games at home, mind you, as well, and just beat unranked Indiana on the road by 3 touchdowns. Penn State has played this schedule. These are your top 10 teams. This is why I need to make notes of this, because people need to know what's happening. Penn State played unranked Purdue, barely won. Played unranked Ohio, blew them out. Played unranked Auburn on the road, blew them out. Played unranked Central Michigan at home, blew them out. Played unranked Northwestern and won 17-7. So your 3 teams in the Big Ten that are ranked in the nation's top 10 have beaten a whole bunch of nobodies en route to being the top 10 best teams in the country. Your thoughts, PJ?
Well, you said it right. I'm beginning to look at this kid Stroud from Ohio State, the quarterback. He's a big tall drink of water, and he looks like he moves pretty good. He throws the ball really well. I guess he accounted for, 6 or 7 touchdowns or something like that. But you stated it correctly. I know we hammer the Big Ten an awful lot, but the Big Ten is really the Big 3 or 4 or whatever you want to call it. I mean, they're not as loaded as the East and the West Conference of the SEC is. And I know people are saying, "Oh, guys are always talking about the SEC." Well, folks, I mean, you've got to look at football the way it is, where it's played, how it's played, and who's coaching, and you'll see what's happening. I mean, I for 3 or 4 years now, I've been bragging on the SEC because that's where the best football is played. And I think I'm beginning to see some of these other teams in the country, Oregon was one of them, starting to recruit more speed than girth. Wisconsin's always been a team that was, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and they have some good running backs come through. Taylor for one of them. They wind up with 200 yards a game, and that's how Wisconsin wins. But now, they don't have a runner as good as that, and they're not staying with the big boys. In order to beat Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State, you've got to be able to run the ball, and you've got to be able to keep those guys off the field. I don't want to see Stroud come on the field that many times because he's going to count for a lot of touchdowns. But if you don't run your own offense, even if you don't score a touchdown, you kick a field goal. If you can keep the ball 6, 7, 8 minutes, keep it away from those guys. That's how you win ball games. You're not going to outshoot Ohio State. They got too many weapons. And Michigan's the same way. They got just better athletes. Penn State's got a shot at being Michigan this week. So I don't know where that's going to go. But I got the same thing. You got Bama's got a good shot at being Tennessee. Well, hell, Tennessee was a doormat for several years. All of a sudden, the last couple of years, they're world beaters. As is Kentucky. You can't take any of these teams for granted in the SEC because they get up and bite you in the ass every time that happens. And LSU is looking straight into the gun for this with Florida. Brian Kelly, maybe he knew what was going on at Notre Dame. He wanted to get out. Well, he got to go saying he jumped from the pan into the fire when he got LSU, and he's not winning. And if he loses this week against an unranked and maybe outman Florida team, watch out.
Yeah. And here we go. Here we go with this. And again, I'm not here to beat up on the Big Ten. I'm really not. I don't care where these teams, what conference they play in. I'm going to state an obvious fact. The Big Ten, and people would say, okay, Dan, well, you're from Syracuse, New York. why aren't you saying anything about Syracuse? Well, Syracuse is ranked 18th. They're not in the top 10. They're not considered the second best team in the country. They're not considered the 5th. They're not considered the 10th. So there are teams that are in the top 25 that haven't played a ranked team. But I will say this about Syracuse. Of the 5 games that they've won, 3 of those quarterbacks could be in the NFL. You know, looking at Aiden O'Connell from Purdue, looking at Malik Cunningham from Louisville, and looking at Brennan Armstrong from Virginia, you say, yeah, they're 5-0 against unranked teams, but 3 of those quarterbacks might be on an NFL roster coming to a city near you. So there is something to be said about that. And I wouldn't call Syracuse a top 10 team. You know, I wouldn't put them in the top 10. Now, in order for Syracuse to get to the top 10, you beat who's in front of you, right? So Syracuse has Wake Forest in front of them at 14. They have NC State, who they're playing this Saturday, in front of them at 15 in the AP, 13 in the Coaches Poll. And Clemson is in front of them, 4 in the AP, 5 in the Coaches Poll. They have to play all those teams still. If they beat NC State, they should move up to NC State's spot. I believe in that, right? Take the spot of the person you beat. So they should move up to 13. If they beat a Wake Forest, if they beat Clemson, then yeah, if Syracuse wins those games, if they beat Wake Forest, NC State, and Clemson, they deserve to be a top 5 team because Clemson's a top 5 team. And if they win those games ahead of them, in front of them, those teams are ranked higher than they are. They deserve to be up there. The SEC, Georgia and Alabama, even if they're playing unranked teams, the quality of the teams that they're playing and that those teams have been ranked, Tennessee and what they've done, I can argue those. I can't argue Michigan and Ohio State other than the fact that somebody keeps them up there every year. Like, you don't even have to watch football. If I can tell you, don't even watch a game of football, who are you going to put in the top 5, and somebody writes down Ohio State, Michigan, those people should not be voting. So we know that Alabama and Georgia is going to earn it, right? They've earned the right to be there. Ohio State has earned no right to be anywhere. And look at how they play in the college football playoff. They don't compete well. And Michigan was erased in the college football playoff. They look like the B team. They look like the B squad. And that's probably the reason why Aiden Hutchinson didn't go to Jacksonville. Because it was the difference between Georgia's Trayvon Walker and Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson. And you look at the SEC versus the Big Ten, and the SEC made Aiden Hutchinson and the Big Ten look like chumps in that game. So it's all relative, and all I ask for is fairness. If this was the ACC, if this was the Big 12, if this was the Pac-12, I'd be saying the same thing. I've said it about Oregon in the past. Why are they ranked so high? So the reality of it all is, if you're going to rank something, rank it fairly. And if you're going to have a bunch of people put in here as sleeper cells to be turned on to do the ranking that you want them to do, the least you could do is let PJ and I be a part of these polls, because we would actually put an adequate vote in to hopefully combat some of you people whose pockets might be lined. That's all I'm saying. So with that being said, we go to college football week 7, and we got a lot of games to get into. I just want this game to be fair. That's all I want. So we go into here and we look at college. Go ahead.
One more point before you start going into that.
Yeah.
Does Syracuse play FSU this year?
Yeah, Syracuse still has to play Boston College on the road, Pittsburgh on the road, Wake Forest on the road, Clemson on the road, and they'll play Notre Dame, NC State, and Florida State at home.
You could put Florida State in that group you mentioned too. That's going to be a tough game for Syracuse.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You could see you may be able to see the difference in the athletes on the field. I hope not, but if Syracuse gets run off, then you'll see the difference in the athletes. Okay.
Yeah. No, and I definitely appreciate that. And my other issue with the Big Ten is that both of the teams that are playing each other this week don't have a win against a top 25 team. Well, technically, Ohio State does. So yeah, no, neither one of these teams does. So Penn State is number 10. Michigan is number 5 in the AP. Whoever wins this game is probably going to move up the polls. Whoever loses is probably not going to move, or move very little. This is what I don't like. Because they're both top 10 ranked teams, after beating all unranked teams, they're going to get respect for beating a ranked team, except for the fact that the reality of it all is neither one of them should be ranked as high as they are. Penn State at Michigan. Whoever wins this gets a big win, but in reality, it's just the Big Ten stroking the ego of the Big Ten. The Big Ten's going to win no matter what in this game. What do you have for Penn State at Michigan?
I think this was a pick'em game, but I do like Michigan, maybe because they're playing at home. Let me expound on something else before you get crazy again here. There's a very distinct possibility that the 4 teams left to play in the playoff would be Southern Cal, Ohio State, Alabama, and Clemson. Now, there's no room for 2 SEC teams in this particular formula I have here. The reason is because USC is playing so well and winning so well. So USC we sort of left out in left field because the Pac-10 never really amounts to anything lately. But don't be surprised if either Bama or Georgia gets tossed out because they want to put in a USC. So we got four different conferences, and that's probably what the championship people want to see. They don't want to see 2 more SECs battle it out. I don't think so. And now we can go back up to your deal here with Penn State and Michigan. Yeah. Michigan has to play really well to win this game, and they have to play exceptionally well to beat Ohio State. So you can even put Michigan as opposed to Ohio State in this little I got here. So there's a lot of football to be played yet, and even though the Big Ten doesn't knock heads as much as the SEC does, there's some meaningful games coming up. But this is one of them.
Yeah, and like I said last year, Michigan and Michigan State had 3 games left. They both had to play Ohio State. Ohio State was in the college football playoff at the time, ranking-wise, and I said, mark my words, if Michigan or Michigan State beats Ohio State and goes undefeated in their last 3 games, they will take Ohio State's spot and get in. And that's exactly what happened, and you're alluding to the fact that it could happen again with Michigan and Ohio State playing the last regular season game for the Big Ten against each other. So in this game, PJ is going to go with Michigan playing at home. I'm going to go with Penn State on the road. So I'm going with PSU and Coach Franklin. So PJ's picking Michigan. I'm going to go with Penn State in this one. Either way, the Big Ten will argue that both teams deserve to stay in the top 10. And I already know that, and I already see that happening. Next game that we have up here is going to be Auburn at Ole Miss. Auburn almost laid a goose egg against Georgia. Typically, they play spoiler. In recent history, they have given us some hope that there's a deeper SEC, but that's been taken up by Kentucky and Tennessee as of late. What are your thoughts on Auburn, who will visit the Lane train and pull into Lane Station at noon Eastern Time this Saturday, October 15th on ESPN, with Ole Miss number 9 and Auburn not in the top 25.
Wow. This is who would have thunk that Mississippi would be this good? I mean, we always we knew Lane Train could do these kind of things, even if he wasn't thought of throughout the country. I realized that he grew up an awful lot when he worked 3 years for Coach Saban and won a national championship. Yeah. He is an extraordinary offensive mind. Extraordinary, and I don't see him losing this game because he's recruiting well, and he's going to stay up on top here probably for as long as he can hold it together. This, frankly, should be a runaway. This is Mississippi.
Yeah, I got Ole Miss in this one too. I don't like the way that Auburn played against Georgia. Not that they can't come back and try and steal one somewhere, but I don't think it's going to be this one. The Lane Train just scoring, a heck of a lot of points. This is a guy who can definitely put up, and we saw it coming, right? We saw that they're going to do it. They did a hard-fought battle and defeated Kentucky 22-19, and they've blown out some other games that they were supposed to blow out, most recently at Vanderbilt 52-28. So I think Ole Miss continues to build their resume here as they're trying to go up the ranks. Here's an interesting game, because one of these teams is ranked and one of these teams is not in the Big 12. And if I told you at the beginning of the season this, you wouldn't believe me. Kansas at Oklahoma. Kansas, 19 in the country. Oklahoma, not ranked. Who wins this game at noon on ESPN2, PJ?
This Is this at Oklahoma?
At Oklahoma.
Boy. You know, Oklahoma's been kind of an embarrassment this year. Lincoln Riley, I guess, knew what he was doing too, but getting out of Dodge. Well, Kansas hasn't done anything for years. And here they are popping up here the last couple of years. They joined Kansas State when Bill Snyder was coaching him. You know, I think they're going to run up against a juggernaut here. I think Oklahoma's got the better athletes. They'll probably have a better game plan than this. And I sort of like them. I like Oklahoma in this game.
PJ going with OK, and I'm going with Kansas. So, you know, I think they definitely can get this victory, and I'm going with Kansas in the win. You know, I think Kansas is trying to, at least this season, change the guard a little bit, and Lincoln Riley not being there. Wow, it looks different. Brent Venables struggling after leaving after spending so much time as, I believe, the highest paid assistant in college football Division 1A under Dabo Sweeney and Clemson, and finally decided, hey, I need to go find my own program here, and he went off to Oklahoma, and I think he's going to run into an issue here with Kansas. I said, when you see Kansas, Kentucky, and Syracuse ranked in the top 25, you got a double take, because in your brain it's college basketball, but in reality it's football. So looking at this, I'm going to go with Kansas in this matchup to get a big road win and make a statement as they move forward this season, try to get up a little bit higher into maybe the top 15, believe it or not. Next game that we have up here, I got to give a shout out to Tommy DeVito, former Syracuse quarterback. I know him, his father Tom Sr., and of course his mom Lexi, who's awesome. And a big shout out to the family. Minnesota at number 24 ranked Illinois. Tommy DeVito, who I said, listen, him being out there with this team, if you're in the Big Ten, you got a better offensive line, and because they build in the trenches. And I said, if he has protection going into the Big Ten, he goes to a team with protection, being a pocket passer, he's going to look a lot better. He's going to be all right. Now, he's up in the air for this game. God willing, he plays. He has an ankle injury. But the team is currently 5-1, losing only to Indiana by 3 points. I watched that game. That was a tough game. They just squeaked one out against Iowa at home 9-6. Illinois will be playing in this game, hopefully with Tommy DeVito, but we'll see. What do you have, PJ, for Minnesota at Illinois?
DeVito looks like he's the real deal over there, isn't it? A good graduate transfer there. And Illinois is playing at home, right?
Illinois is playing at home, yep.
Okay, I like Illinois in this game.
Yep, so PJ and I are going to pick, and hopefully we get to see Tommy DeVito out there, but we're going to be going with the Fighting Illini in this game to win their matchup and to see them become bowl eligible. How about that? Tommy DeVito having a lot of tough years in Syracuse and then goes over to Illinois and becomes bowl eligible 7 games into the season. I believe that's what's going to happen, as the team will be 6-1, and we'll see Illinois in a bowl game, which makes me very happy for the DeVito family. Next game that we have up here on our docket is going to be Alabama at Texas. Believe it or not, 2 top 6 ranked, or Tennessee, that's what I meant. Yes, thank you. Alabama at Tennessee, 2 top 6 ranked teams. Now, Tennessee has done more work in the SEC than I think some Big Ten teams have done, so I'm not as opposed to their higher ranking here, as Tennessee has, well, they played a ranked Florida and a ranked LSU. Obviously, Florida has struggled a bit, and they beat Pitt early on in the season and helped knock Pitt out of the top 25. So Tennessee's had a better season to me than the Michigans and the Ohio States of the world up to this point. Alabama's Alabama, the number 3 team against the 6 team on the road, 3:30 p.m. CBS. Does Tennessee get it, or does Alabama stay undefeated?
Boy, this is a sensational game. This is not true. This is a true pick-em game. Really, it is a pick-em game. Tennessee should be favorites if they're playing at home. Frankly, it all depends if Bryce Young is playing for Alabama. I don't think Bama wins with Milroe at quarterback. And I don't know what to say other than that. I'm going to pick Tennessee because they're at home, and I don't think that Bryce Young is going to play. But if Bryce Young plays, I'm going to pick Alabama. But we don't know that because Nick Saban's not going to tell us that. So with that being said, I'm just going to stop talking and say I'm going to pick Tennessee.
Yeah, they said that Bryce Young was on a pitch count in practice. So we'll definitely see what happens here. But even if Bryce Young plays, does he play a half? Is he 100%? Questions, questions, questions. Which leaves me with saying that the team that almost lost 2 years in a row to Jimbo Fisher is going to go on the road with a quarterback that may not be 100%. And I am going to pick the Tennessee Volunteers to win this game against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Dare I say it? The Tide will roll, but it will roll orange this time around.
Right. It's going to be a heck of a game. The Tennessee's defense really is showing something. If Bryce Young, let's put it this way: if Bryce Young plays, he's not going to roll out. He's not going to run the ball. That's for damn sure. Yeah. And he can just scream. Nick Saban will be screaming at him from the sideline. Just throw the ball away or do something. These kind of games, these teams are so packed with potential and star players that it's extraordinary that you can have one player turn the tide, and that's what Bryce Young is. He's a generational quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner. He's that good, and he's going to be that good in the pros. But if he doesn't play, Bama doesn't win.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a big game. It's going to be a huge game. The only thing that I don't like about this game is it's on the same time that I'll be at the Dome for Syracuse. So I'm not going to.
Oh, you got to put it on your phone.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to watch it as devoutly, but I will be taping it for sure. Alabama at the only 10 I see. So I'm going with Tennessee here at home in a game might be Alabama's only loss of the season. We shall see. I did say that Alabama's the only team in the country I believe can lose 2 games and make the college football playoff. We'll see. Maybe this is the year where they lose 2, but I think this is definitely, if Texas A&M tested them at home, then I think Tennessee's going to get them on the road in this matchup. Oklahoma State at TC motherfreaking U. The Horned Frogs and Sonny Dykes, a coach that I never wanted to leave SMU, is at TCU, Texas Christian University. And Oklahoma State is coming into town. OK State is a top 8 team, and they're trying to show the world that we're going to be fine when Oklahoma leaves. And TCU is saying, well, you should be happy that we're going to be representing the Big 12 as well. They're the 13th ranked team. They'll also be playing at 3:30, which will also piss me off because I also can't watch this game as much as I want to on ABC. Oklahoma State at TCU. What you got?
Well, Sonny Dykes is a great offensive mind, and he's probably going to throw some wrinkles at Oklahoma State. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think he's got enough weapons to stay with Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy's always been a favorite coach of mine, and I like him in this situation. I like Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I think this game is going to. This is going to be a good game. This is going to be another good game. I think that somebody could run away from this a little bit quicker, maybe than we expect here. But I'm hoping that this is going to be a good game. I gotta reply to one of our former posts here as Facebook is being problematic to make sure we get our picks up here. Facebook can't make it easy for you. I can tell you that much. So PJ and I in this game, OK State at TCU. PJ is picking OK State. And I am going to go on the other side of things. And I'm going to pick TCU at home in this one. I think TCU's got a shot to have a special season. And I think that they, were almost potentially there in recent history. So now I think they get even closer. They're going to try and pitch themselves to be a top a top 10 ranked team at this point. So PJ's got Oklahoma State. I'm going to go with TCU at home in this one. I was probably going to pick TCU either way in this matchup, but I like them more that they're at home. The next game we have up is the 3:30 game that I'm going to see. The problem is, many of you can't see it. You want to know why? Because it's on the ACC network. You want to know why? Because the ACC wants to make money. You want to know why? Because they work with ESPN. And you want to know what that means? It means people in Syracuse, New York are not going to be able to see their own game on their own television set unless they call their cable provider, and who the hell has cable anymore, and gets in touch with them and says, let me buy the ACC network and pay extra money on top of, and I won't call them by name because they're not a sponsor, and I don't like them. I call them Rectum on the show, and Rectum is a horrendous, put it like this, when I was using PJ's internet down in St. Augustine, my videos uploaded 97% faster than they upload with Rectum that I have here. So I pay a lot of money, and oh, Mr. Totora, your internet seems to be running fine. No, it's not, you jerk. And I'm not buying the business class just so you can flip a switch and turn up my internet and charge me more money. I pay $79.99 a month. Make my internet work. It's only me in the house. Lily doesn't use the internet, so I don't know why it's running so slow. The ACC network, unless you have a package, you're going to have to come to the Dome. And darn it all, folks, I've asked you for $40K like 3 or 4 times now. And allegedly, you're going to show up. I look forward to seeing over 40,000 of the finest people in Central and Upstate New York, as well as anywhere else in the world you come from, to come to this game, the game I will see at 3:30 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. NC State at Syracuse. Devin Leary, the quarterback of NC State, may not be playing in this game. Syracuse is undefeated. NC State has 1 loss. If Syracuse wins, they'll probably be in the nation's top 15. If NC State wins, well, it's a quality win for them in this case, and they may be able to move up or at least stay at 13-15. What do you have, PJ?
This is another game where it's critical that the quarterback play is essential to win the team and to win the game. And NC State is put in that situation also. If their quarterback plays, they win a game. If they don't, then Syracuse probably wins. But I'm going to want to stay with NC State because I think they're a lot tougher than they look on paper. And even though they just squeaked by Florida State is a good team this year. We've talked about that. And they better have a good team against Clemson, but that's later. I like NC State here, Daniel, mainly because I think that they're a little bit more quality team, a little bit more better athletes.
Boo! So, PJ taking NC State. I'm going to pick Syracuse in this game. I had a premonition that Syracuse went 6-0, and they were standing at the top of a mountain looking out on the horizon, knowing that whatever the light touches was within their reach at this point, and they could go forward and continue to win, but already be bowl eligible. I'm going to go with Syracuse in this game. They're at home. I respect the heck out of Dave Doran. I respect the heck out of NC State. I love their athletes, and I get to cover them, and a bunch of them make the NFL. I'm a huge, huge fan of Dave Doran, to the point where I actually would put public stuff out to NC State fans, asking them how stupid they are to not appreciate the coach that they have when he was allegedly going to go to Tennessee, and they're like, good riddance. And I was like, what are you, idiots? So NC State, fantastic team, fantastic coach, fantastic game. First big test for Syracuse of the season. And I'm going to pick Syracuse, but I'm going to tell you something. I got respect on both sides. I'm a big fan of what NC State has done. But if my loud house gets loud and I get the $40K I want and I can barely hear myself think, and that dome is rocking and it's one solid voice just banging down on NC State like it's done to other teams this year that made it really hard to understand what the hell's going on and have caused some false starts and some panicking, I am going to see one of the games that I'll probably be most excited to see. It may be close. It may be 20-something to the teen-something. It may be in the 20s. This game is going to be a punch-down, drag-out fight. and I'm picking Syracuse to go 6-0 and send my butt to a bowl game for the first time in 4 years, and God willing, right back in the great state of Florida. So we'll see where we get to go. Hopefully it's south in December, but I'm picking Syracuse to win the game. Next game we have up here, PJ, is going to take us to LSU at Florida. Who would have thunk that both of these teams would not be ranked? However, this game is on ESPN, and tickets in Gainesville are as low as, hold it, $64. What are your thoughts on this game?
No. Again, I'm going against my heart here. I just think that LSU is the better team now. I know they haven't played that well. And Kelly hasn't really put his stamp on this team yet. He's probably thinking, well, maybe I made a hell of a mistake leaving Notre Dame, but, I go walk over coals for my Gators, but I just don't see them doing it here. I got to go with LSU.
Yeah, I'm going with what I called LSU before Shaq did, which made me feel that Shaq and I have at least some telepathy, where I referred to LSU before he did as Love Shack University. And I'm going to go with Love Shack University over Florida. It pains me, PJ, but I do think LSU is playing better ball right now, and I'm going to give them the victory. The team that has either won or come close to winning this year is 4-2. They blew out Duquesne from Pittsburgh. They defeated LSU at home 24-23. They defeated Louisville on the road. They defeated Boston College at home in a blowout. They lost to Wake Forest and lost to NC State. Wake Forest by 10 at home, and NC State barely by 2 on the road. Now, they will welcome Clemson to Tallahassee. Is Clemson in trouble against Florida State in Florida this weekend?
Well, we've had some difficult picks this week, Daniel. This is another difficult pick for me. I've been on the Mikey train for a while, for 3 years now, and he's almost where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Boy, it would be a big win for him. I know I liked Florida State last week against NC State, and I thought NC State's defense played pretty good. Clemson has a better defensive team, and they're probably a better team than North Carolina State. But Florida State's a better team than people that they played against. So, with that being said, I know Florida State's playing at home, and I'm really on their train, but I'm going to stay with Clemson.
Yeah, I think that this is a great game. And I've been a Mike Norvell fan since all of his time in Memphis, since he came to Memphis for 4 years. I was with him the whole time. I was with him at his last game. I was with him when he made his first appearance at the ACC kickoff for Florida State, and been with him now for 7 years. So I'm a fan of Mike Norvell. I think this would be a huge win. Getting to know him a little bit on and off the air, I know that this would be a really emotional game for a guy that really shows his emotion. So this could be a special night for Mike Norvell. However, he's playing Dabo. Going up against Dabo is no easy task. And DJ, say it with me, Uiagalelei is a heck of a quarterback and doesn't get the credit he deserves. But Florida State's been itching to get a victory and steal something because they have a statement to make. And dare I say it, they make the statement this Saturday night.
Oh, boy.
I'm picking Florida State.
Oh, my goodness. So the second coming of two is not going to make a difference then, huh?
I'm picking Florida State in this one. It's a 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time matchup on ABC, and I got a feeling, to quote Black Eyed Peas, and I'm going to go with it. Mississippi State at Kentucky. Number 16 seeded Mississippi State, with Mike Leach and all of his weird isms, playing up against number 22 ranked Kentucky. So what do we got for Kentucky and Mississippi State? Whenever I think of Kentucky, I think you got a pretty mouth. But but Mississippi State and Kentucky, what do you got?
Well, I love Mike Leach. I've loved him ever since he was down in Texas there, and when he was up in Washington State, and he's just talk about a great offensive mind. This guy's got it, and he throws the kitchen salad at you. Let me tell you, I like Mississippi State. Kentucky sort of woke up last week and got beat, but I like Mississippi State in this game.
You know, I've picked against Mississippi State this season, and I'm sitting here asking myself, am I going to do it again? And I'm not. I'm going to go with Mississippi State to win this game and stay above Kentucky. I got to go Mississippi State to win this matchup. I almost went Kentucky, but I can't bring myself in this matchup to go against them in this game. USC at Utah. This game's going to be played on the West Coast. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's going to be on Fox. USC at Utah. USC is 7. Utah is 20. USC is going to be a Big Ten team, which makes absolutely no sense. And Utah, well, we'll see where they end up. What do you got, PJ? Are the Utes for real? Or is the Trojan horse going to roll into town and create some ruckus?
Well, there's going to be some great games played this weekend, and I wish I could watch all of them, but I can't, obviously. Well, I'm going to stay with you, USC. I've been liking the way they're playing lately. Utah saw them play against Florida. They probably should have won that game against a mediocre Florida team. So with that being said, I'm going to go with USC.
Yeah, I got to go with USC in this one too. I think, Lincoln Riley, as I believe, is going to do something special, arguably out there, and help USC get on the map here. So I'm going to go with the Trojans to roll in that Trojan horse and create some havoc, and I'm going to have them win in this game. I want to make sure we addressed, because I know a lot of the games that Greg was hoping for, we've already done here, but I want to make sure we didn't miss any of them. So let's see, Greg, what do we got? So Greg said, I think we covered them all. Penn State, Michigan, Bama, yeah, we got them all. I want to make sure we didn't miss any of them. What did Greg say to me? DT's ballsy and bold pick of the week. Yeah, well, well, we'll see, man. I went with Florida. I'm guessing you're talking about the Florida State one, and that's the team I went with. So I'm gonna scour this really quick. How about this, PJ? They got this game in. I want to. Nevada and Hawaii will kick off at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, just so they can say they played the game on Saturday night. So 11:59 p.m. Nevada at Hawaii, which is an interesting game there. But I want to circle one more, and I want to pick one more game here. So I'm going to throw one more matchup at you, and that game is going to be... Where do I want to take this one? Let's go with... we talked about a bunch of great games that are going to be played here. So I'm very excited. How about this one? Because this one got the nighttime matchup. North Carolina at Duke. What do you got?
Let's see at Duke, huh?
Yeah.
Duke at home?
Duke is going to be home, yep.
Okay. Don't care. I like NC.
I love that. Duke's going to be home? Yeah, I don't care. So PJ and I are going to both pick UNC. However, I do think this is going to be a good game. Mike Elko, coming from the staff of Jimbo Fisher and coming over from Texas A&M, has done a great job in his first season with this team, and I've been very proud to see the work that they've definitely put forward here. So I'm going to go with UNC in this one, but I think that I think Duke is definitely on better footing right now, which I'm very excited to see what they've been able to do. But I'm going to go with UNC in this basketball game getting played on the field. We're both going to go ahead and pick North Carolina. So with that being said, PJ and I are going to take a step aside. When we come back, we will be giving you our picks for what is to come here in the NFL. We'll also be reviewing our NFL pick tallies here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So we'll let you know where we're at, and we'll tell you where we're going in NFL Week 6 right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, where sports meets that thing called life. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And excited to have PJ here with us in the PJ Takeover, your weekly dose of your duo every single Thursday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time here inside of these Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, as well as on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse, and of course online at cafekubal.com. And inside of these Cafe Kubal Studios, we have these beautiful Witty Wicks candles. They are perfect gifts. They're great for the holiday season. They're great for all year long. I got my Namaste at home. It's a peaceful smelling candle to help calm me down when I flip out about the Big Ten. So it's a beautiful can. Should be called the Big Ten candle. So it's a beautiful candle for me to relax with here in the studios. And of course, speaking of relax, we have our 315 Syracuse pillow, our Cuse Home Sweet Home pillows. You can buy those at Witty Wicks. There's a bunch of different styles of the 315 Cuse and Syracuse pillows, but they are going quickly. Some of them are sold out already, so make sure you get over to Witty Wicks. The 315 sign. Plenty of things here in the studio come to you from Witty Wicks, and I implore you to get out there today to 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York, right in front of the Movie Tavern. And from today, October 13th, to Sunday, October 16th, Beekman 1802 if you buy any one of their products, Witty Wicks is giving you a free gift. So you have to go in store, and you have to go between today and Sunday, October 16th. So make sure you do that so you can get a free gift from Witty Wicks. Buy something from Beekman 1802. So with that being said, you're with us on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com. All / Wake Up Call DT, and on Facebook.com / Live Now DT. And of course, you're on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage. PJ and I made our picks for the NFL Week 5, and I'm going to be running you through how NFL Week 5 looked for PJ and I before we make our Week 6 picks. So, with that being said, let's hop into our Week 5 picks, and we're going to take a look at these right now. So, in Week 5, we'll go down the line here, and PJ and I had both gone with the Denver Broncos, who lost in overtime. They've very much struggled to score any type of points, so we got that one wrong. He picked the Packers. I picked the Giants in England, in London, so I got that one correct. Sorry, Miss Mary. I love you. And so I went with my my buddy DeAndre Smith and Saquon Barkley in that one. Then we both had Buffalo, we had the Chargers, and we had Minnesota. So Buffalo is correct. The Chargers is correct. And Minnesota also won, which is correct. So we got a bunch ones in a row there. We thought Detroit was going to get it done, and they put up a friggin' goose egg, 29-0 against third-string quarterback Bailey Zappi of New England, who I thought would get out there and play. And I'm not surprised he's doing well. I didn't think they were going to blow out Detroit, who had been scoring offensively. Then PJ went New Orleans, I went Seattle. PJ was right, I was wrong on that one. And then the Dolphins, we went with the Dolphins over the Jets, and the Dolphins had an injury to their backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. So we got that one wrong. Then PJ went Bucks, I went Falcons. Bucks won at 21-15. So PJ got that one correct, and I got that one wrong. Titans here defeated Washington, so we got that one right. We both picked the Jaguars. We'll talk about that ugly mess of a game that I was on site for. That was gross. Interviews were great. Go back and listen to them, but the game itself was very ugly. San Francisco. Wow, it's great they kept that guy called Jimmy Garoppolo, the guy they've disrespected. Great that they still have him on the roster and that he's not holding out due to disrespect. Cooper Rush is a frickin' phenom. We both picked the Cowboys, and they beat the Rams. The Rams have multiple losses this season. They have 3 losses. The Super Bowl reigning champion Rams are 2-3 this season. They've lost to Cooper Rush. Get it, girl. And they've lost to the Jaguars at home. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the Jaguars beat the Chargers. My fault. So they did not lose to that. But the Rams losing this season to Cooper Rush, not Dak Prescott, also losing to the Bills and losing to the 49ers on Monday Night Football. Crazy. Your only undefeated team in the NFL stayed undefeated, beating Arizona by 3, 20-17. So we both got that one right. We both got the Ravens right in a 19-17 ugly win. And Kansas City came back and beat the Raiders at home in Kansas City 30-29. What a game. What a game that was. So PJ here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I believe he had 11 correct this week. I believe PJ went 11 and 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses. Yep. And I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So PJ did very well this week, and I stayed within one game. 11 and 5. PJ did 10 and 6 for me in NFL Week 5. PJ, your thoughts on Week 5 of the NFL?
Well, obviously, the Jags are a major disappointment. I think we'll talk about that later. There was just some good football played. Disappointed in the Packers. I just can't get fired up about some of these teams, and there's so much on, and I have the NFL package, flipping all over the place, and I really can't get. I want to get involved with some of these teams, and I don't, and that's my fault. That's my bad right there. Buffalo looked awesome. Tampa squeaked it out. Brady didn't look like himself early, and all of a sudden he completes something like 33 out of 51 passes for 1,000,000 yards. And I don't know, the guy's a living legend. He continues at his age to throw the ball as well as he has. Some of the other quarterbacks should really learn from him. I'm sure they're trying to learn from him, but he's probably not the best teacher. He's kind of a surly guy. My man Jameis, when is he coming back? Oh my goodness gracious! I don't know Jameis. I like Taysom Hill looked like he could play quarterback.
Yeah,
I think he could. And Jimmy Garoppolo, what can you say? The guy that can't play quarterback anymore is leading the San Francisco, and will probably be the quarterback the rest of the year and next year, and whatever his contract is up.
It's crazy. It's crazy to take a look at this and to, Jimmy G is just doing everything that he can, and I applaud him for staying loyal to a team that just doesn't seem loyal to him. So I do. He's definitely the bigger person from what we've seen, and he's been great. PJ's record now is 43, 36, and 1. My record right now is 43, 36, and 1. So PJ and I have the same overall record in the NFL as we have picked every single game this year, and we will continue to do so. So make sure you stay tuned to this. PJ is 43, 36, and 1, and I am snake eyes with PJ, 43, 36, and 1, which means that this week may decide who is in first place in this. 43 wins, 36 losses, and 1 tie. Thanks, Texans and Colts, for that freaking tie, but that's where we are. So we'll go into NFL Week 6, PJ, and it's time for us to pick the week. Washington at Chicago will play tonight, and what I imagine will be an all-Washington game as Chicago doesn't seem to know how to score points.
Oh, geez. Chicago's lost his quarterback. They don't have a clue what's happening over there. Reminds me when Lovie Bush was coaching. He didn't have a clue either. I like the Commanders. The Redskins. I like the Redskins this time.
So
I got to be politically correct here.
Yeah, so the Commanders playing at the Bears tonight. PJ and I are both going to pick Washington to win this game, and the Bears. I mean, I don't trust the Bears to score 10 points this season in a game. I really don't. And so, I mean, I genuinely don't know what the heck's going on. they bring a coach in, they fire that coach, they move that coach, they fire that coach, and it's not working. So, obviously they got to figure it out and figure it out quick because they have weapons, but they don't score. And I think Washington's going to run away with this one. Terry McLaurin, great. I did my fantasy. Every Wednesday we do the fantasy one. Go back and watch it on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT for fantasy football advice on this game and every game. Spoiler alert, I definitely think you should play Terry McLaurin. Next one up here for Sunday, 1 o'clock games. San Francisco at Atlanta, PJ. What do you got?
Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy's going to roll. Jimmy. Go, Jimmy. San Francisco.
Yeah, keep in mind, folks, San Francisco is the only team in the NFC West with a winning record, 3-2. So, and that's with Jimmy G at the helm for the majority of it. So, just to remind everybody, Jimmy G's a pretty good quarterback, and maybe you should start paying attention to him. Maybe the 49ers should start paying attention to the fact that they traded up 9 picks to get Trey Lance. And listen, great for Trey Lance and all that, but you got a guy who led you to the Super Bowl. So maybe you should remember that when he's healthy, he's dangerous. And as long as he's healthy, this team remains dangerous. Trey Lance has gotten hurt 2 seasons in a row, and he's only been in the league for 2 seasons. So God be with Trey Lance. I hope he comes back healthy, safe, and well. And in the meantime, you got the quarterback that you invited to the dance and then tried to bring the other girl. And here's Jimmy Garoppolo standing there with the dress on waiting at the front door, and you weren't going to take him. Well, now it's time to take him to the dance, and he's dancing his socks off. So maybe, just maybe, you should realize you dance with the one that you asked to go to the dance, and that's the person you should stay with. Jimmy G, shout out to you for being a professional. San Francisco, shame on you for not knowing what you got. New England at Cleveland, what do you got?
New England has to play better. I know they have quarterback problems up there. Cleveland also has quarterback problems. I'm gonna go with New England on the road here.
Yeah, New England blowing out the Lions kind of threw a monkey wrench into what the thought could be on this game for me, because the Browns are a team that typically struggles, right? They don't win a lot of games since they came back in 1999. So I'm going to have to pick New England in this one just because, Bailey Zappi, if the third string quarterback is shutting out a nice offense like Detroit, I mean, to me, Cleveland has good running backs, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, worth the play in fantasy, but in reality, I think New England is the better team in this matchup. Next game, we have the New York Jets at the Green Bay Packers.
The Packers got to bounce back. This is a must-win for them. And there's been a lot of talk up there. My bros are talking junk up there that some of the locker room is not real happy with some stuff that's happening. And Aaron Rodgers has got to step up here. He's got to lead the team in the locker room. He's got to lead them on the field. Green Bay.
Yeah, well, maybe he shouldn't call them out in public forums. I'm going with the Jets in this game. The Jets, to me, have been able to really come alive here. And granted, you take advantage of a Miami team that's got injury to injury when it comes to quarterback, but the Jets have been able to hold teams off, do some good things, and make some good moves forward. And I'm a big fan of Breece Hall. Liked him from before, really when he was drafted, and told you to draft him. And hopefully most of you listen to me. I know that I drafted him in a bunch of my leagues. I thought this was an interesting reality. I know Jets fans that are Gators fans, and I know Packers fans that are Gators fans. So in the battle of Gainesville that's not in Gainesville, I'm going to pick the Jets to go on the road and beat Aaron Rodgers, one of the biggest prima donnas of the NFL. And I've always been a fan of Aaron Rodgers, but in the last 2 years, he's lost some respect from me because of the fact that he's just seemingly a jerk to people on his team. And if you're a wide receiver getting called out publicly as not being that good, well, I wouldn't want to play for that quarterback. And I think what Aaron Rodgers is realizing or needs to realize is the amount of money that he asked the Packers for will secure the fact that the Packers will never win a Super Bowl as long as he's their quarterback. Next up, Jacksonville at Indianapolis.
You had to say this one, didn't you?
I did. Remember, they blew them out when they played them at home. So
I know that.
and Jonathan Taylor's not 100% currently.
I'm going to go with the Jags just because they're the home team. I know Trevor Lawrence has got to play better. They have to have a better offensive game plan. They're not clicking. He's making too many mistakes, and it can't continue to happen. It can't. I got to have the Jags.
PJ's taking the Jags on the road to go 2-0 against the Colts. As I was told by, I believe it was Christian Kirk, he said the Colts don't care about this game. They're not going to let up on us. They don't care what happened to us in this matchup. They're going to be ready, and we need to be ready. So shout out to Christian Kirk. Great first impression of my first interview with him this past week in Jacksonville. Big ups to him. I look forward to your leadership on the field, my good sir. I'm taking Jacksonville. Minnesota at Miami. What do you got?
I think Kirk Cousins is starting to come alive this year. I like him in this game against Miami.
Yeah, Miami's injury laden. If Tua was healthy, I think we're looking at a Miami team that's potentially still undefeated. And on the other side of it, you got a really talented team that's really not scoring a lot of points, which is crazy. With Delvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Kirk Cousins, I would expect this team to be scoring some more points. They haven't been. It's been beaten up on some people in fantasy, but I got to take the reality here, and I got to take Minnesota in this game to get the victory. Next one we have up, PJ, is going to take us to Cincinnati at New Orleans. Famous Jameis may not be out there. Taysom Hill's written as a tight end. However, he's playing kind of all different types of positions. What do you have for Cincinnati at New Orleans? A team in Cincinnati that hasn't been scoring, and they could probably thank the fact that they can't protect Joe Burrow, or they haven't. And New Orleans, a team that, well, they're not bad. They're 2-3, but they just defeated the Seahawks, who have been red hot, and they beat them 39-32. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'd like to see New Orleans play Taysom Hill and quit hiding him, for crying out loud. I mean, the guy can play multiple positions. Get the ball in his hands. You can outrun linebackers. You can almost outrun defensive backs. He can run through the linemen. I mean, come on, give him the damn ball. Give him the quarterback job. I like Cincinnati, though.
All right, PJ going with Cincinnati. I'm going to go with New Orleans here, and I'm going to pick New Orleans at home. Taysom Hill, too much. Cincinnati, listen, they're not protecting their quarterback. That's a massive, massive issue. You know, people want to sit here and you want to blame Joe Burrow. Well, if Joe Burrow's not standing up, he can't throw the ball. So, you know, I'm going to have to say New Orleans in this one to win this game, just because of the fact that I don't think the Bengals are a bad team, but I do think the Bengals are having some issues up front. And as George O'Leary told me a long time ago, smart teams know that you build championship teams from the trenches out. If you're not building from your offensive and defensive line out, you should probably do something else as a profession, because you're not building a championship team. I'm going with New Orleans in this game. And whether or not he's on the field, I'm picking famous Jameis. Crab leg baby. So let's go Baltimore at the Giants. This is a replay of a Super Bowl that happened a while back, where Kerry Collins and Trent Dilfer were the quarterbacks of these teams, the Giants and the Ravens, respectively. What do you have for this one, PJ?
I'm going to stay with the Ravens. I know they can play better, and Lamar Jackson has to throw better. I mean, he runs well. We all know that. He just doesn't make the quality throws. I mean, he's got to throw to someone else besides his tight end, Mark Andrews. I mean, between the two of them, they're like Kelce and Mahomes. But he trusts him with the ball, so you got to give it to the Ravens.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to get a victory in this one. I got them. I think this game might be better than you expect it to be. Might be a little bit dicey, a little bit of a nail biter, but I think Baltimore pulls away eventually and pick Baltimore on the road. Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett is your starter, as I said he would be at some point this season. I'm not surprised that I think I said between weeks 4 and 7. Somewhere within that, I think I said that by week 7, so we're before week 7. He's the starting quarterback. Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh. Does Tom Brady not play great and then figure it out at the end like he's been doing? Or does Pittsburgh get a victory at home?
I don't care what Pittsburgh does. They don't beat Tampa Bay.
PJ, point blank on that one, shooting you like a sniper, Pittsburgh. So we're gonna go with Tampa. I'm gonna pick Tampa as well. It's hard to pick up against Tom Brady. There's a couple things I know about Tom Brady. He wins football games, and apparently he doesn't like to be home with his family. So I'm gonna. I hope that's not true. I really don't. I mean, I know he likes to mouth kiss his son, which is very eventful. But, you know, you got kids, you're 45, you love the game, and your supermodel wife who's taking care of your kids probably wants to travel the earth as well because she's got a pretty nice career. So it's got to be give and take, brother. And I don't know what's going on. All jokes aside, I'm not here to poke fun at anything. I've been through divorce, Tom. I hope you don't have to go through it. I pray to God you don't have to endure the pain of that. Because whether or not it's right to get away from the person, it's still a pain in the tush to go through. So I know that I've been hard on Tom Brady before. But all comedy aside, I pray and I hope for you, your children, Giselle, Bridget Moynihan, who I know he had a child with in his first relationship there. I just pray everything works out and that God is with you and you let God guide you every step of the way. I want nothing bad to happen to anybody in that family, ever. So, my best to you, Tom, and I'm sorry for what's going on with you and Giselle, if there is something going on, and I'm sorry that it's public, because it should never be public. Someone's household, no matter how famous you are, should always be in the house. So, God bless to you both and to your family. I hope it all works out. Carolina at Los Angeles, your thoughts on this one after Matt Rule has been fired and Carolina has an interim head coach?
It's not going to. I don't think it's going to make much difference who's going to coach Carolina in the near future. With Baker Mayfield not playing, I like the Rams.
Yeah, I got to go with the Rams. I like my dude P.J. Walker, who, ironically, like Matt Rule, is coming over from Temple. But Matt Rule is no longer there. P.J. Walker is there. And I got to go with my P.J., though, and say that the Rams are going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close. And I think they're going to stack the box against CMC. Next game up, we got Arizona at Seattle, the battle of the nest. Does Seattle bounce back, or does Arizona get a dub after losing by a field goal?
I think that Carolina does a lot more with the ball. I think that Kyler Murray, even though I don't like the way he plays sometimes, I think he's more of a threat than Geno is on the other side. I like Zona.
All right. PJ picking Arizona on the road. I'm picking Seattle at home in this one. I haven't picked Geno Smith a ton, but I said last year that he showed me a lot more than I thought they were going to get from him when he filled in for an injured Russell Wilson. And this year he has continued to show me more than I thought would come out of there. I'm happy he's proven me wrong because it means that man's going to work. Congratulations to you, Geno. And I didn't see him as an NFL quarterback, and he's definitely shown up lately and done some good things. So I respect it. And as a man to a man, I can tell you, you've done a hell of a lot better than I prognosticated, and I respect you for the work that you've done. So congrats to you on that. Buffalo at Kansas City. But this is a replay of a game that nobody in Buffalo wants to remember from last year. The team that kept them out of the rest of the playoffs. Buffalo at KC. What do you got, PJ? This should be the Sunday night football game. It's not. It should be moved to Monday night because Denver has their second Monday night game, and they've had a Thursday night, and they've had a Sunday night. My guy Nate Hackett has been running through a chainsaw in his first season as an NFL head coach. Buffalo and Kansas City should have gotten moved to Monday night. What are your thoughts?
This is the game of the week, probably the game of the year so far. You're going to see two unbelievable quarterbacks. I don't know how to pick this game. I mean, it's probably going to wind up 45-42 or something like that. These guys can throw it all over the place. I think KC's got to win at home, Daniel. It's really a toss-up game, but I like KC at home.
PJ's taking KC. I'm taking Buffalo. So I'm going. I got to go with the Bills on this one. I trust that they can get it done. They've had some hiccup moments, but I think that this is a game that is personal, very personal to them from last year, and I think that they want to make a statement with Kansas City. Mind you, they've run through a buzzsaw themselves. Buffalo has had to play the Rams in the first game of the season, which are the Super Bowl defending champion. They've had to play the Ravens. They've had to play the Chiefs. They've had to play the Titans. They've had to play a bunch of these teams that they're potentially going to see in the playoffs. So, Buffalo has been battle tested in the first 6 weeks, which I think is great for Buffalo and dangerous for the rest of the world. I'm going Buffalo in this game, which is a 4:25 kickoff. And I know my people, the Buffalo Bills backers, Beeville Bills backers, I know that Jeff Cook and the crowd are going to be on site at Pizza Man Pub, 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York, where Bills fans live and eat and enjoy. And of course, there's Bills fans all over it. The Wildcat, everywhere we go. Avacoles, so make sure you get out there, support local, and support your Buffalo Bills. The night game on Sunday is going to take us to Philadelphia, the only undefeated team in the NFL. They're 5-0. The Dallas Cowboys, under Cooper Rush, are almost perfect. Dallas at Philly. What you got, PJ?
Cooper's going to wake up this year. He's going to wake up to a nightmare. Philadelphia wins easy.
The city of brotherly hate. I don't suggest that you should wear a Cowboys jersey or anything that doesn't say Philadelphia on it when you go there. I'm going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles in this one to win the game. Now, I believe that Cooper Rush has been far better than probably anybody but himself gave him credit for. But this game is good of a game. And who would have thought an undefeated Eagles team and an almost perfect Cowboys team with their backup quarterback Cooper Rush were going to put a game together like this where people really want to watch this Sunday night game. Because Philly-Dallas hasn't been great in a while, but it's great now with Cooper Rush and Jalen Hurts. And I got Philadelphia putting a Hurts in on the Cowboys. Monday Night Football, Denver at the Los Angeles Chargers. Why can't my man Nate Hackett catch a frickin' break? He's been primetime. In 6 weeks, he's had 4 primetime games. What are your thoughts?
Your man Nate's going to lose this game too, Daniel. Chargers.
I got the Chargers in this one too. And week 6 of the NFL is the first week where we will see a bye week. So if you have fantasy football, make sure you pay attention to your bye week and don't put these teams out there. Detroit, Tennessee, Vegas, and Houston are all taking a break, which means that Houston can't lose this week. And thanks to the Jaguars, they got to win their first game of the season, which is not a claim to fame. PJ, as always, I thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking with you very soon, as you and I will be back at it next Thursday for the weekly dose of the duo. Thank you, sir.
Okay. See you later. Bye-bye.
Take care. And coming from Papa Joe, here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we both picked the Chargers, and we got that up for you on YouTube as well. So, we got some comments that we have in here. Let's see what we got. So, and sorry if we didn't get to it. I had to put them in. I had to put our picks in the Facebook feed in an interesting way because of the way that it was not allowing me to put the picks in here. Jags generally plays Indy well, not so much Houston. Yeah, they suck against Houston, and it's ridiculous. Hill is the Swiss Army knife for the Saints. Yeah, he might be the best Swiss Army knife of the NFL. And, I mean, I guess you can argue Patty Mahomes because he can throw like 500 different ways, but I'm talking about a guy who can catch and do this, that, whatever. Famous Jameis, yes, Greg, that is very correct. Famous Jameis Winston. DT with the sniper shots at the GOAT. Yeah, but I was nice to him after. I was nice. You know, I'm like a Sour Patch Kid, right? First I'm sour, then I'm sweet. I was sour to Tom, then I was sweet. Sour Patch Chuck was on the show this week. My guy, Charles Pride, Chucky Pride. So you got to definitely check him out. Check out my special with him on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. Geno Smith, let's see what this word was. Geno Smith, probably one of the biggest positive surprises in the NFL so far this season and 10 last season. I would agree with that. That's what happens in the NFL when you win your division the previous season. You get a tough schedule on paper. Yeah, it's true. Cooper Rush doesn't lose games. Yeah, no, the man's been great. And, and Nate Hackett, you know, that Denver offense with all that talent. Javonte Williams is out, though, which is really sad. But
with all the talent they have, you'd think they'd score more than 9 points in a game. I don't know what the hell's going on. But with that being said, those are our NFL picks. Once again, PG and I have the same NFL record heading into Week 6. We are 43-36-1 on our picks. And in college, we are very close as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up here in the NFL and in college football. A great week. And dare I say it, maybe a week where there's finally some really, really good, like multiple good matchups. So you got plenty to watch and plenty to DVR this week for the NFL and college football for sure. We're going to take our final step aside of the show. I'll come back to wrap things up inside the Cafe Kubal studios right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. As always, thank you for being with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsa Q's, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general. I think is really the secret sauce.
Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York. Coming to you fall 2022.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. Of course, Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, inside of their double-decker cafe on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. So make sure you head out there today. With that being said, you can also go to cafekubal.com. They have an all-new menu that has been unveiled at all of the restaurants. You can go and check those out by going to Cafe Kubal today to be the first to grab that new menu. Want to thank you all for tuning in with us on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT. Of course, much appreciate you being on Facebook.com /LiveNowDT and on WakeUpCallDT.com as well. Once the shows go live, check them out in the archive. The Jaguars interviews from this week are up there on the Prowl, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. All you got to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners and beyond. Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks. Get out there today. Get a special gift from them if you order anything. If you go to the store, you got to go to the store at Witty Wicks, 190 Township Boulevard today in Camillus through Sunday, October 16th. If you buy any Beekman 1802 product, you get a special free gift from Witty Wicks. PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Mod Pod's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Mother's Cupboard, and of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. This fits up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Big time shout out to our guest, Terrence Chrysler Howard, and his team, the Lemoyne men's soccer team, that won their game 4-1 at home yesterday. Big shout out to them, getting on the positive side of things here. 4-3-5 is the record. 4 wins, 3 tie. 4 wins, 3 losses, 5 ties this season. Big ups to Lemoyne men's soccer. And you can see my special with Terrence, as well as all of our specials, by going to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com, subscribing to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. And of course, every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time is Dolphin Time. Every first and third Wednesday, we have AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, bringing you our topics of the day, including the exclusive series on realignment and reclassification as Lemoyne looks at potentially going Division I. And so you can check those out. And of course, every second and fourth Wednesday, like this Wednesday, we have the Dolphin Dive, where we dive into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. All of that, like I said, on the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com and by subscribing to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. For more information on your Dolphins, go to LemoyneDolphins.com. The Bryan and Stratton Bobcats of Syracuse are here with you in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership and what we call the Bobcat Buzz. And we give you the buzz around the Bobcats, including their inaugural baseball team and roster. We've done specials with them. We have been on site on location at Mother's Cupboard on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York, as Clay Gagan Sherman was named the head coach of the men's basketball team. We got to break that news. We got to break the news on campus on James Street, down the road from Mother's Cupboard, on campus at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. We got to break the news that Tay Baker is the women's basketball head coach. We got to say a see you soon, see you later to Danny Frasina at PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York, as he left the program that he started, the men's basketball program at Bryan and Stratton. We've done a lot of great things. We've been on site on location at the soccer games this season with Nick Dimitrievsky of the men's team, reigning national champions, and Alex Grigorita with the women's team, reigning national champions. So many great things to come with the Bobcats. You can check out all of our coverage on the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com by subscribing to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT as well. And for more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. We thank you, as always, for being a part of the show. I thank my co-host, Papa Joe, in our weekly dose of the duo and the PJ Takeover. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And in the meantime, from the Cafe Kubal Studios, I wish you and pray for you a great day, a great night, and so on. God bless.